We all have a lot of different accounts for Microsoft Teams, and to be able to participate in drills and exercises and training, we often need to be able to switch from one account to the other. So let's take a look at how to do that. To change accounts, click on your initials and then go to Sign Out at the bottom of the drop-down list. Teams is going to relaunch and it's going to bring you to a sign-in window, and I'm going to sign in using another account by clicking the link at the bottom. Type in the email address associated with the new account that you're trying to log into. You'll be asked to enter your password and then click Sign In. This will take you into the team that you are trying to get into. If you're like me, you might belong to many different teams as a guest. And to get from one team to another, we have to utilize the drop-down box in the upper right-hand corner of the Teams window. Let's take a look. So here I am in my organization's primary Teams account. You can see that I have a number of different teams that I belong to within this account listed in the menu on the left-hand side of the screen. But I want to go to an account that I've been invited to as a guest. To do that, I click up here on my initials, and I go into the drop-down menu selecting Accounts and Organizations. This gives me a list of all of the different organizations that I've been invited to. And I'm going to select the Marine Exchange of Puget Sound. When I do that, it's going to automatically run through the login routine and bring me back to that team. And you can see that it's beginning to populate all the channels that have been set up for the exercise I'm going to participate in. When you log in, you may find that some of the channels within your team are hidden, and you'll have a desire to unhide some and hide others. Let's take a look. So to unhide channels, we simply select the hidden channel marker. It'll bring up a menu of the channels that you're not currently able to see. And as I hover over each one, there is a Show button off to the right-hand side. Select Show, and that channel will show up in the rest of your menu. Another way to show the hidden channels, but to do it a little more quickly, is to go up to the menu bar for the channel and pick Manage Team. In the Manage Team window, I have an option for channels, and when I open that up, I can see a column that says Show Me. This means show me the channel in my sidebar, and I can click on the boxes, the check boxes, for all of the channels that I want to see. So if I'm in logistics and I don't want to see the JIC liaison channel or the operations channels, I can unselect them and get a menu that fits the needs of the tasks that I'm trying to perform. In its naming convention, Microsoft has done something that I think is in some ways unfortunate, in that they have called the application teams, and each one of the different projects or events within team, they also call a team. So I personally get confused as to which one I'm talking about. Hey, we're in Teams. Well, is that the team that I set up or the application itself? So when we refer to the team that we've set up for the exercise, we're going to refer to that as the virtual command post. And then each of the breakouts that Microsoft has created within the team they call a channel. And you can think of these channels from a command post perspective as being the same as a table. Safety is sitting around the safety table, and logistics is around the logistics table. Or you might think of them as rooms, where unified command is in a room and the JIC is in a room. You can picture yourself as you click from channel to channel as if you're walking from room to room. And one of the things that has worked really well in several of the exercises that we've done over the last year is to have somebody representing each distinct section or group, whether it's safety or logistics, to always be at the table, so that when you click into that channel, someone is there to greet you and ask you how they might help, in the same way as you would be greeted if you walked up to a table within the command post in order to ask a question. So if you're the section chief, if you're the group supervisor, you're the branch director who is in charge of one of these channels, our strong recommendation is that you assign someone to always be there so that someone can ask a question. One key to success is being able to participate in a meeting within Teams. So we're going to walk through how to join a meeting, how to start a meeting, how many different meetings that there can be. But let's talk about some best practices for participating in video meetings in particular. And one is to have a good microphone, like this one, so that you can get good audio. Another good practice is to have a set of headphones when you're participating. And this isolates the sound of your voice and the sound coming out of the speakers so that you're not getting feedback. Now, they can be a set of good audio headphones like these. They could be a set of earbuds. It really doesn't matter what they are, as long as they isolate the audio coming from the computer from the audio going into your microphone. Lighting is important. People end up being in the shadows, so having some kind of a light that illuminates your face so that we can see you while you're participating in the drill, and then have some kind of background that you've given some thought to. Remove that copy of Mein Kampf from the bookshelf so that people don't make fun of you later. With meetings inside of Teams, you can have one meeting in a channel. You can have 5 meetings in a channel. You can have a meeting going on in every channel. But here are some limitations. You, as an individual, can be logged into up to 5 video meetings at one time. When you leave one meeting to join another, you're put on hold in the meeting that you're leaving. But you're still logged into it, so you can move between those meetings very quickly. Currently, each meeting can support up to 350 participants. As a point of interest, Microsoft is working on an update that will allow up to 20,000 people to be in one meeting at a single time. When you join a meeting, have your video turned on and say hi so that people know that you're there. Have your background turned on so that people can see that you're from operations, or that you're an observer, or that you're an evaluator. We're not in person where we would otherwise be wearing ICS vests, so the background of your video is an important way of identifying what role you're playing in the exercise. So here's a vision of my screen showing Teams. You can see that we have one meeting currently active in the planning channel, and we can tell that we have a meeting because we have the camera icon there in the planning channel row. And if I go to posts, where there's a record of activities that have taken place in that channel, you can see that I have a meeting called the tactics meeting that is active, and I can click the join button to get into that meeting. You can also see that I have this meeting up here in the right hand corner because I am already in that meeting and I'm on hold. So to become active again, I click this resume button at the top of the screen. And to leave the meeting, I click the red leave button, and since I'm the only one in the meeting, that will close the meeting. And you can see that the camera has disappeared. So now I'm going to start a meeting, and I can start a meeting in any channel I like. I'll go ahead and start a meeting in the situation unit. And to do that, I'll come to the upper right-hand corner of the screen and click Meet. Now, right when the meeting window launches, I have an opportunity to change the name of the meeting. And it's important to name it something that makes sense so that people know what it is that they're joining or can find the meeting they want to get in. And so I can simply call this situation unit if it's going to be an active meeting, always talking about situation, and I'll click join. And once it creates that meeting, it'll give me an opportunity to invite other people. And you can see now by clicking back over into the main Teams window that I show the camera icon in the situation unit, and in posts I have the display that shows the meeting and a button to join. Now I can create another meeting also in the situation unit. We'll just leave the default name. And once it's created that meeting, we'll jump back over into the main page, and you can see now that there's a number 2 next to the camera icon. So now I know that there are 2 meetings running in the situation unit. And if I go to the posts menu, I can see those 2 meetings, and I can join either one of them. And here in the upper right hand corner of my screen, you can see that I am currently in 2 meetings, and I can click join on either one of them. I'm on hold when I'm not actively in one, so when I click join, it asks me if I want to resume, and I'm able to click into that. So that's how you join a meeting. You can jump between meetings, and as soon as I jump into the other meeting, I'm placed on hold in the meeting that I'm leaving. Come up here into command, I'll create another meeting, and I will just call this the UC objectives meeting. You can see here now that I have a camera in the UC meeting, or in the Unified Command channel. In post, it shows me that meeting, and I can join back up whenever I'm ready to. To change your background, we go into the More Actions setting and scroll down to Apply Background Effects. We have a bunch of built-in backgrounds that Microsoft has supplied for us, and as you scroll down through the list, you have additional backgrounds that you have installed yourself. Simply click on one of the backgrounds that you want, and select Apply. Now the background is in effect, and although you're seeing it inverted on the screen, other people participating in the meeting will see it correctly. To turn it off, simply scroll back up to the No Background icon, select that, and click Apply. To add a background to the menu, select Add New, and it will take you to your file system menu where you can go find the JPEG or PNG file that you want for your background. Now, I want to point out that you only have the Add New button available to you when you are logged into your primary account. So when you're logged into the Puget Sound Marine Exchange account as a guest, when you go to this menu, Add New will not be there. You must add your background while you're logged into your home account prior to joining a guest account. Then that background will be available to you in that guest account. Each channel within Teams has its own file menu. The files are stored in the background in Microsoft SharePoint. Files that are visible in one channel are not available to you in another. Let's take a look. So here we are back in the Teams application. I'm in the Operations channel, and here at the top we have a link for the Files menu. As we go in, we can see that for Operations we only have one file currently in the menu, and that is the ICS 215. You can open the file here, and it will open in an online version of Excel, and it's fully editable. And what's really great about Microsoft Office documents, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, is when they're displayed inside of the Microsoft Teams environment, they become a multi-user product, which means that 5, 10, 15, 20 people can be inside of this Excel spreadsheet all at the same time. One person working in the recovery group 215 and a person working in the protection group 215. To close the document, simply go to the close button in the upper right hand corner. We've also set it up in a few of these cases where there are specific tabs across the top of the channel menu to get you to the key document you're looking for. So there's a 215 tab, a 214A tab, a 213 RR tab, and we'll talk about some of these processes in a future video. If we go to the Unified Command Channel and select Files, you can see that we have a different set of files in here, a Word document of opening statements, responsible party transition checklist, etc. The main files for the event are housed in the Documentation Unit channel. And we treat the Documentation Unit as we would the Documentation Unit in a face-to-face command post. That's where the originals ultimately end up. We've set up a file structure here so that we have a folder for the first operational period, and we would continue to create additional folders for every succeeding operational period for as long as the event lasts. And that operational period folder will contain all of the IEP components and any other documents that are specific to that day at the discretion of the Documentation Unit leader. Documents seen in one file system are not seen in another. So make sure that you put the files where you intend them to go. Otherwise, you're going to lose track of them. People won't know you've done them, and getting things viewed and approved will be that much more difficult.